This is The Blockchain Show. The Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies and promotes widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology.
Hello, you're listening to episode number 51. Today on the show, we have Alex Bessonov, the founder of BitClave. But first, here's an update from our good friend Mark.
As well as finding and attending your local blockchain meetups, here is our regular rolling roundup of blockchain events coming up over the next month. A reminder that on November the 9th, we have the Milwaukee Blockchain Conference. Steve and Heather will be at that event. Go and meet them. November 9th, 10th, we have the Latin American Blockchain Forum, and that's in Los Cabos, Mexico. And November 13th, we have the Blockspot Conference, and that's in Lisbon, Portugal. If you can't make one of these cities, why not attend Blockchain with the Best online webinar on November 15th and 16th? And if you've ever fancied visiting the home of the Ethereum Foundation, go to Blockchain Summit Crypto Valley on November the 22nd. And that's in Zug, Switzerland, Crypto Valley.
All right, thank you for that, Mark. If you can, folks, check out one of those events if it's in your area. We took a little bit of a break off. I apologize for that. It was sort of unintentional. A lot has happened since. Sarah went to the BlockCon 2017 in Santa Monica. We'll have her on the show some other time to talk about that. So welcome, everybody that we met there. Mark went to a meetup in London about a month ago, and I don't have the heart to delete it, so I'm going to put it at the end of this episode because he had some very interesting things that he discovered at that. But now for our feature presentation with Alex Bessonov of BitClave. So BitClave is an active search ecosystem, which is a platform that enables direct customer-to-business interactions with no need for intermediaries. We talked a little bit off mic talking about how companies like Google and Facebook use your search information and sell it off to other companies, and it's kind of creepy. So I hope you enjoy this conversation. I learned a lot, and I was very impressed with what they have to offer. Alex is a former chief security officer at LG Electronics, and here he is.
Hi, Ethan. Hi, guys. Alex Bessonov. I'm a CEO and founder of BitClave. We are a blockchain company based in Silicon Valley, California. Work on a new paradigm or new design for advertisement industry, how to change the world and improve the way of living for people, essentially making sure that people don't give out their data for free and make sure that there is a better connection between people and businesses, either it's a service or maybe some goods that people are looking for. So myself, I am a software engineer. I originally from Ukraine, grew up in Israel, lived in the United States for the last 17 years. Work on security for most of my life. Was a chief security officer at LG Electronics previously. And before that, worked at companies like NXP Semiconductors, Microsoft, and some others. So really coming from the engineering roots and focusing on solving hard problems in computer science. So and then we have an excellent team of engineers and academic people. So yeah, we can go deeper into that later.
Yeah, for sure. I read a little bit of the white paper, and I was kind of fascinated by the current paradigm, how search engines work, how, I mean, more or less we're kind of being monitored in a weird way, what we search, what we're interested in. Would you mind explaining a little bit how the system is set up right now with the buying and selling of information?
Right. Well, the system is so complicated that I don't think you can have one person that explains the whole system. But in a nutshell, our data is being monitored and watched by every single player, from our cable providers like Comcast, AT&T, to service providers, to browsers and search engines. So whenever we do anything on our computer, it's being recorded, monitored, and later used. And so that's becoming more and more of an issue. I think when we all started to use computers, we were new to that, and data was not as popular back then. But now a lot of people realized, and Google was the first one to realize how important is data and how much money they can make on this data. And so this new economy is extremely fast growing.
Yeah, and as I understand it, something like 50% of all the traffic is generated by bots, which is not even, I don't even think most people understand what that means.
Right.
Would you mind explaining like what a bot is and how it can interfere with a company trying to reach their advertisers?
Right. So yeah, so that's a whole different angle, right? So that's an angle of when you are, as a company and a business, you're trying to advertise yourself and reaching out to the audience. First of all, you have this wall of Google and Facebook, of these big companies that you have to go through them, and you don't really know what they do. You have to trust their algorithms, and you have to trust their engineers. And some of them trying to do a good thing, but a lot of them are really just trying to monetize, and they don't really care about your specific interests. On the other hand, there is a whole industry of bots and click farms, which are using your budgets as crazy, and there is several economies behind it. One of them is maybe to damage a competitor when you can click through some of the ads that you put on, and then once they eat your budget, then you cannot advertise anymore. And so there is other means, and there is whole dark economy behind it. So bots are, for those who doesn't know what bot is, it's a computer program that runs and pretends to be a user. Now Google does a lot of work to find out bots, but it's a very, very difficult problem. I think it's actually, I would say, almost impossible, because it's very difficult to distinguish between a human being or somebody who wants to pretend to be a human being. Yeah,
and the blockchain seems like the perfect technology to kind of combat that. Would you mind kind of giving us a kind of a brief intro into what you hope BitClave can do to sort of solve all these problems and help out both the consumer and the the companies trying to reach a consumer?
Right. So what BitClave builds is it's an ecosystem where people can put their data on a blockchain, and blockchain is being used here more of a decentralized storage for the data. So when you put this data, it's not owned by anybody; it's owned by you. You can encrypt the data, and you can decide which fields and when you want to disclose. So, for example, if you're looking for something very specific and you're a male in your 20s living in the United States, there is a whole industry, there's a whole area of businesses that will be interested in getting your information and advertising something to you, giving you an offer. And so you have an intent, you are looking, let's say, for a car. I'm a car dealership. I would love to connect with you. If you are a real person, I definitely would be interested in connecting with you. So this is one piece of the blockchain technology we are using is for storing the data. Another one, which is very important, is to understand that blockchain is this technology that is very transparent. It builds on transparency. Everything you store on blockchain is there. So when a business wants to advertise to a specific group of people, and they do that, and later on they can run some algorithms and verify if they indeed talk to this kind of people, if they reach to the right audience. So the data is not stored and not owned by one entity like Google or Facebook, and you can really do a deep analysis on what happened after a fact, and this transparency that what will drive the adoption of the technology. So that's how we use blockchain. We and maybe the last piece that is very important is a piece of smart contract, because essentially you have two parties here. You have a party that is looking for a service, and there is you have a party that has a service. And smart contract will enable this use case. It will trigger the event where, I'm looking for you, you're looking for me, we found each other, and then this moment is going to be a data exchange. I'll send you some information about myself, and you give me some tokens for this information. And so this is again driven by smart contract, and that's one more very important piece of puzzle of blockchain that we are going to use, or we are using right now.
Very cool. And something that it really caught my eye, but I didn't understand, is that the users could even get paid for using your service. How does that work? How could I search for something and then potentially get paid?
Right. So the main idea that we are building on is that our data worth a lot. You specifically as an individual, you have your own circle of businesses that you are going to be using, and if you can connect with these businesses in a direct way, you make these businesses very happy. It's a plumber that you need to call for your house, or it's a hairdresser. When you're looking for a specific service, the service would love to reach out back to you. So it's dating, right?
Yeah.
In any business, you have to have two parties, and so our system helps to build this the connection. And as any business, if you can get a customer that is a valuable customer and maybe a long-term customer, you would love to pay for that. Right now, your only way is to go through advertisement agencies, to go through Google's, to go through Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And you only have one channel, and you give out money away to middlemen. So what our system enables is this direct connection, and when the direct connection happens, you as a user you benefit because the money is there. People want to advertise. People want to reach out to you, so they will be happy to pay you money for your attention.
That's so cool. That's my favorite part about all this, is just getting rid of the middlemen, and it seems like you're going to add a lot of value. Speaking of value, I saw you guys have raised like a crazy amount of money so far. Like, was it like 16 million? Is that right?
Correct.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations. Are you still in your ICO phase? Are you still trying to pursue that?
Yes. We are wrapping up. We have a main event actually scheduled to be on Tuesday, or I think Wednesday next week, but due to high demand of Bitcoins before hard fork, we also got a lot of requests from our community to move the dates. So right now we are planning to go live on November 21st, which is pretty much a week after hard fork. But yes, we are in the final stages of preparation for ICO. We are very blessed to have a very large community, and really being one of those projects where people are paying attention to what we do, and they want us to succeed. So we are raising a large amount. Our goal is to make sure that we build the technology, and we are looking into a lot of business cases and a lot of verticals that we can approach. But our goal is to build the platform, to enable few verticals, and bring a mass adoption, and make sure that people know about us. And so that's why we're raising a large amount, and we're making sure that we have the technology in place when for the launch, and when we have the specific verticals working.
So whenever the launch may be, for someone like me, how would I interact with your service? I mean, obviously I know how Google works. You open up a web browser and type what you need, but when everything's set in place, how would it look like in terms of the user interface?
Right. So we are not changing user interface a lot. We are actually sticking to the same model where you come to a place and you search for something, and you find it, and when you find it, you get compensated for your data. And so we started with several vertical solutions that we built. First one, it's called matchico.com. It's essentially a service where you as an investor, you can look for ICO companies, as an ICO company, you can look for investors. So this is kind of, we call it a dating service. So if you're an investor and you're investing a large amount of money into ICOs, as an ICO company, I'd like to be able to reach out to you, and so I'm willing to pay some money to get your attention. And so this is essentially kind of like a search or matching mechanism where the user interface is you come to the website and you search and you find and you get compensated. Another verticals that we are right now addressing is a retail search. So we just released the first alpha version of our product, which is an Android app that is essentially a search application where you register, you provide some data, and you start searching. And when you search, services will pop up and provide you some offers, and you can get money from the services. So these are the two. We call them alpha right now. They're still MVPs for us and proof of concept. But as going forward, our main line of business is going to find right partners that already have search engines in place and plug in ourselves into the search engines. And so when you have a search on a website that's quite popular, but right now is just doing regular search and using Google AdWords to monetize, we can replace it with our search, and then people can start benefiting from it. And so that will bring a lot of traffic to the search engine itself, to the website, and will help people to make money and help businesses to connect in a direct way.
Wow, that's brilliant. What's your time frame for full functionality?
So we are targeting Q1 to have Q1 of next year to have a first vertical fully working. Right now, as I mentioned, we already have 2 alphas out. We think that Match ICO has a big potential because it's a first platform where you can advertise your ICO and you don't pay middlemen. You essentially go directly to investors. So it's that's hopefully the first tier of middlemen that we are going to attack and hopefully take out. As an ICO company or crowdfunding company right now, I can tell you that there is a lot of sharks running around and trying to sell their services to us and to others, and they're extremely expensive. So that's the first vertical that we are solving, and then Q1, our hope next year is to hope to have a good partner on board. We're talking to several really interesting partners right now, and have operational system with these partners as well. We are, as I mentioned, we are a Silicon Valley startup. We are probably one of the first ICOs where we are coming from background of blockchain, but also coming from background of technology and academic world. For me, I think what's important for people to understand is that we are building a platform. We are going to build both startup communities on board, but also we are looking into academic world. Right now, we are working with Carnegie Mellon University to build an anonymization engine to make sure that data is stored securely. We're also expanding to other universities, and what I'm kind of very, very passionate about is to reach out to the broad development community, to ask them to come on board, to talk to us about their skills and see how they contribute in this new world of data protection. And so that's kind of, again, I don't know your crowd very well, but if anybody who is a developer or a researcher who is interested in data protection, I would love to talk to them and just ask them to contact me directly through Slack or Telegram.
Yeah, I might as well add, where can people go to learn more about you and your product?
Right, so the easiest way is just to go to BitClave, www.bitclave.com, and you can reach out to Slack or to Telegram. These are the 2 easiest ways to talk to us. We have a very active community. I think we have over 20,000 people overall in the community. We have several thousands in Telegram, several thousands in Slack. You can also send us an email. So you can reach out to me at alex@bitclave.com. And we would love to hear your feedback.
Well, cool. I've really enjoyed this conversation so far. I'm very impressed with your company, with your staff, and the white paper. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes.
As I said, we are starting the crowdfunding soon. Hopefully it will go well, and maybe we can reconnect and talk more, and maybe we'll have more questions from the audience.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. This was awesome.
Thank you. Where are you based, by the way?
We're in LA.
LA? Okay, got it. Okay, local here. Sounds good. Okay, man. Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Hi, it's Mark here again. So, having had some time to think about the lectures I attended at the London Ethereum Meetup, they were very informative. The audience was largely made up of developers, of Ethereum developers and technology people. I think there were a few people from around kind of the media and other peripherals. It was a largely technical audience. And the two presentations were really useful and exciting to see that there are people are trying to tackle a whole range of different issues using blockchain, but also within blockchain and specifically Ethereum. The first was outlining standards to be used for identity within blockchain, so how to prove identity, how to challenge identity, or rather claim your identity and have it validated. That was really useful, can have some everyday applications. They gave an example of a nightclub or a discotheque bouncer checking your identity against a ledger and letting you in based on that, based on some ID you may have on your smartphone or some crypto you have on your smartphone. That's useful. The second was looking at the Swarm implementation. Now, if anyone knows, following the kind of the Ethereum developer world, Swarm and Ethereum blockchain and the Whisper network are trying to be the three major components of what is known as the world machine or the world computer that I guess Ethereum overall is being touted as. The Swarm implementation is supposed to be covering the distributed storage needs for that world computer. So if the Ethereum blockchain is there to act as kind of the world CPU, the thing that processes the logic, that processes the transactions, the Whisper network, I think, is there as the world messaging bus network that processes messages, sends messages, distributes messages across the network, and the Swarm part covers the storage. How do you provide, I guess, an even more cloudy or a distributed version of something like the Amazon Web Services S3 cloud storage solution, but make it a distributed, non-centrally owned, non-centrally managed thing, something that is by nature distributed, decentralized, open, and equal. So yeah, Swarm it pitches itself as that storage layer. And there were some specific discussions around how to kind of pay for that, how to make that make the Swarm network pay for itself by the transactions that process on it. And there were a number of protocols and channels outlined as how Swarm kind of pays for itself. There are plenty of YouTube videos on Swarm and on the protocols Swap and Swindle and Swear. So go look them up and see how you can implement the Swarm storage solution. Overall, looking at the London Ethereum Meetup, I really enjoyed going. It was like going back to university again. So it was held in one of the lecture theatres at Imperial College in London, which is a pretty top university in the UK. And yeah, it was very much reminiscent of going to university lectures, and some of it I was able to pay attention to. Some of it was a little bit beyond my knowledge, but that was useful because it started to stretch my knowledge into areas I've not explored before. So yeah, if you're really interested in seeing some of the people who have worked on the way Ethereum has been built, the way Ethereum is continuing to develop, certainly the London Ethereum Meetup, which is the oldest, I think it was established in January 2014, and one of the largest. There were maybe 400 people there last night. That, yeah, it gets some really significant players, significant voices in the Ethereum Foundation or Ethereum ecosystem to come and talk about what they are currently working on. So a good way of seeing what's maybe not there right now, but it's certainly coming down the line, and how Ethereum is maturing, how standards are being thought about and built in, how real-world applications are starting to be thought about, how to make this work in the real world, not just in theory, not just on paper, not just in a lecture theatre, but how to take it and move it outside and aim for common adoption. So if there is a Ethereum meetup or even a blockchain development meetup in your city or a city near you, I'd suggest going along, seeing what you get out of it. If they get as good lecturers or presenters as they did last night, you're going to get something really useful and worthwhile out of it.
This is dedicated to Nelson. Wait, Dan. I'm sure you can hear the cricket in the background. That is because Sarah left the door open most of the day. And I'm thinking about back to the last house we were in when we had a cricket that wouldn't shut the fuck up. I'd like to sincerely thank all of you for listening, to let you know that we're still here, and Mark and Ian are still doing their thing. Sarah is still making badass artwork, and she's working on a very special presentation that I'm sure will not disappoint, and I have been looking forward to it for months now. It kind of started back with Steve, and instead of Steve, it's going to be me. Or maybe someone smarter than me who knows about astrology. My guest today was Alex Bessonov of BitClave. Thank you, Alex. Thank you to the team at BitClave that reached out. And thank you to Mark and Ian. Also, thank you to Heather and Steve. If you're in the Milwaukee area, definitely go and check out the Milwaukee Blockchain Convention, which is happening very soon. And tell them Ethan said hi. If you'd like to learn more about BitClave and their white paper, you can check out the show notes at theblockchainshow.com, or you can visit their website. And if you have a wild hair and would like to donate, I would love for that to happen. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I think we're going to have another episode for you very soon with another update from Mark and Ian. Also, I proposed to Sarah, and she said yes. And if the old guard still offend, they got nothing left
the book. You're not obliged to swallow anything that you despise. See those unrepenting buzzards want your life. And they got no right. As sure as you have eyes, they got no right.